The story begins with the wind Hashira saw Nemi and the serpent Hashira Obanai, accompanied by two demon slayers, stalking an abandoned castle. One of the demon slayers confirms a woman from a nearby village has been abducted, but they found nothing when they investigated the castle. Suddenly, Obanai spots a demon carrying the missing woman, and they go after him. The demon realizes he's being followed and blames himself for not killing the demon slayers before. The four enter the castle, but they don't realize it is crawling with numerous demons. The demons attack the demon slayers but are quickly handled down by Saw Nemi and Obanai, who eliminate them with their breathing techniques. The serpent Hashira Obanai says something is wrong, as he has never seen numerous demons in the same place before. They hear the woman cry for help and leap onto an upper floor while slaying all the demons on their way. They follow the kidnapper outside the castle and quickly get surrounded by more demons. The demons attack Saw Nemi, but he takes them out with his wind-breathing fourth form. The kidnapper realizes the demon slayer is strong and throws the woman off the roof, but she is quickly caught by Obanai. The Hashiras then chase the demon as he falls back into the castle, but when they leap inside, they instead see a vast, endless space of wooden halls and lamplit rooms, crawling with even more demons. Saw Nemi attempts to kill the kidnapper but only manages to stab the ground as the Infinity Castle vanishes. Obanai questions where the demons are, but Saw Nemi responds that he is as unsure as he is. Meanwhile, Ka now meets the poisonous Hashira Shinobu and informs her about her mission. Shinobu tells her about the attack on the swordsmith village and reveals that, due to the efforts of Muichiro, Mitsuri, Tanjiro, and Ginya, two upper ranks have been killed. She explains that Nezuko has conquered the sun, and the big battle will soon be upon them, and Nezuko will be at the center of it. She says Muzan will now come for her so that he can conquer the sun too. She then asks Ka now to look after Nezuko as she is headed to Yubayashiki Mansion for the Hashira meeting, and Ka now happily agrees. On the other side, Tanjiro wakes up from his 2-week slumber and speaks with Goto. Goto tells him that all the swordsmiths have been relocated to the new place, and all of them are safe. Meanwhile, Saw Nemi and Obanai join the Hashira meeting. They apologize for their late arrival, but Himejima praises them for their mission. The meeting commences with the arrival of Kaguya's wife, Amane, and their children. Amane informs them that Kaguya's health has worsened to the point where he can never appear before them again. The Hashiras are shocked at the news but pray that Kaguya may find the strength to live on even a bit longer. She thanks them for those kind words and then addresses Mitsuri and Muichiro, revealing she heard from Demon Corps members that mysterious marks appeared on them during their battles and hoping they can explain how to induce them. She explains that during the Sengoku period, the demon slayers of the first breathing style, who nearly defeated Muzan, all bore a mark akin to demonic patterns. Saw Nemi says he has never heard of such marks and questions why they kept this secret from them, to which Amane says that the information is short and only one record exists about it, written in the personal notes of a demon slayer who used the first breathing style. The record explains that when the mark appears on one person, it will manifest to those around them in resonance. She says the first person to gain the mark in their generation was Tanjiro, but when asked how it appeared, he could not give a clear explanation. She hopes that Mitsuri and Muichiro can explain in detail. Mitsuri tries to give her explanation, but she's also a Tanjiro type. Muichiro then speaks up and reveals in his previous battle, he was poisoned and paralyzed, but seeing a boy about to be killed trying to save him, Muichiro regained his memories, and overwhelming rage overcame control of his emotions. He believes his heart rate exceeded 200 beats per minute, and his body temperature exceeded 39 degrees Celsius when the mark appeared on him. Amane is shocked at the revelation, but asks all Hashiras that their top priority is now to awaken these marks. After Amane has left, Tomioka decides to leave the meeting, but Saw Nemi orders him to stay as they must decide their next moves. Tomioka replies that it does not concern him, but Saw Nemi tries to grab his shoulder to stop him. However, Himejima silences them down by showing his overwhelming strength. The stone Hashira orders them all to sit and reveals he has a proposal for them. Meanwhile, Zenitsu arrives at the Butterfly Mansion. Kyo calls out to the others that Zenitsu has returned, and everyone commends him for completing his mission. Nezuko then appears behind the gate to greet him as well, causing Zenitsu to yell out in excitement at seeing her once again. However, Nezuko tells him, "Welcome back, Inosuke," causing Zenitsu to demand to know Inosuke's whereabouts in order to kill him. It is then revealed that Inosuke had been teaching Nezuko to say his name. Hataru then appears in Tanjiro's room and gives him his new Nichiren sword. Tanjiro is amazed to see Rengoku's Tsuba installed on the blade and thanks him for that. Hataru tells Tanjiro to see the blade, which he unsheathes to reveal its unique pattern. He says the steel is of high quality and believes its previous owner was likely a powerful swordsman. After Hataru leaves, Ginyo, lying in bed nearby, asks if they could be quieter, but Inosuke bursts through the window of the ward. He tells them the joint strengthening training is about to start, and they all will be trained by the powerful Hashiras. At the Hashira meeting, Himejima believes they must begin the training in 3 days. He says time is against them, and they don't know when Muzan will launch a war on them. Thus, he wants them all ready. One by one, the Hashira voice their acknowledgement and agree with him. Obanai asks if they alone will be enough, to which Himejima proposes bringing the retired Hashira to help. Meanwhile, speaking with Tanjiro, Zenitsu lamented having to return to training despite just completing his recent mission. Tanjiro is excited about the idea, but Zenitsu disagrees, calling it horrible and hellish and believing whoever thought of it should die. He walks away in anger, but Tanjiro calls out to Zenitsu and thanks him for his advice about thunder breathing, as it helped him greatly in the battle against the Upper Moon 4. Those kind words lifted the mood, and Zenitsu left the room smiling brightly. Meanwhile, watching as several demon slayers struggle to run, Tenjin Uzui chastises them for their lack of fitness and demands they hasten themselves as if being attacked by a demon. Several of them soon collapse in exhaustion, but Tengen beats them down with a wooden sword while saying that the active Hashira's training will be harder. As the training begins, Tenjiro receives a letter from Kaguya and is shocked to learn that Hashira Tomioka is not participating in Hashira training. On the other side, while writing in her journals, Tameo hears something in her window. A Kasugai crow greets her and explains that he is the messenger of Kage Yubayashiki. Tameo questions how he found her, to which the crows answer that he had identified the house's previous owner, and examined how Yushiro's blood demon art worked. However, he reassures her that he has no intention to harm them. Tameo asks for his intentions, and the crow explains to Tameo that within the Demon Slayer Corps is a young woman who also possesses knowledge about demon physiology and pharmacology. He then invites her to join the Demon Corps to help examine Nezuko and defeat Muzan. Yushiro senses something and rushes to Tameo. He enters her room to see Tameo closing her window. She tells him that they will be moving out of the house and will go to the Demon Slayer Corps headquarters. Yushiro is shocked at the revelation, but when she tells him that this is their last chance to defeat Muzan, he agrees to go with her. Meanwhile, Tenjiro reads Kaguya's letter to him. Kaguya had wanted to speak to Tomoyoka but could not due to his health, and he asked if Tenjiro would speak to the water Hashira instead. Tenjiro, with a kind smile, agrees to fulfill Kaguya's wish and leaves the butterfly mansion. He arrives at Tomioka's residence and begins calling from the front door. Tomioka hears him from inside but believes he misheard. Suddenly, he hears the door open and is shocked to see Tenjiro peeking inside and looking for him. He tells him about Hashira training, and Tomioka says he is already aware of what is happening. Tanjiro tells him he can return to active service in a week and hopes he can train him, to which Tomioka says no. Tanjiro asks the reason, to which he answers that he is angry at him for not mastering water breathing. He says he wanted Tanjiro to become the water Hashira, as there is no one in the Demon Slayer Corps who holds the title. Tanjiro, surprised by his remark, asks what he's talking about, but Tomioka orders him to leave as he walks away. Remembering Kaguya's letter and how he had asked him to talk to Tomioka, Tanjiro vows to do whatever it takes. Not disheartened at this, Tanjiro proceeds to follow him for the next several days, asking him numerous insane questions, even as he is eating, meditating, bathing, or using the lavatory. Eventually, growing tired of his persistent following, Tomioka tells Tanjiro that he did not pass the final selection. He explains that during his year of entering the selection, there was a peach-haired boy named Sabito who lost his family to demons. They became friends since they both lost their families to demons. He says Sabito was a kind boy with a strong sense of justice, and he was the only one to die in final selection. Tomioka says he himself was injured by the first demon that attacked him, but before it could attack him again, Sabito suddenly appeared to rush in and behead it. Weak from the heavy blood loss, Tomioka nearly faints but is caught by Sabito to stop him from falling. However, he soon heard a cry for help, as an applicant was about to be eaten by a large demon. Sabito entrusted Tomioka to fellow trainees and ran to the source of the voice. Waking up a week later, he learned from the survivors that he passed the final selection. But Tomioka questions how he, someone who did not defeat a single demon and had to be rescued, could be considered someone to pass the selection. Tomioka tells Tanjiro he is not worthy of the title as the water Hashira and considers himself different from them. Furthermore, he does not see himself as deserving of a place in the Corps. He tells Tanjiro to seek out another Hashira to train with and that he is simply wasting his time being with him before walking away. Driven to tears by Tomioka's telling of his past, Tanjiro imagines that Tomioka wishes that he had died, a pain he is familiar with himself. To have someone one had deeply cared for die and the wish that they had lived instead of oneself, a pain like being ripped apart. He remembers when Sabito mysteriously trained him on Mount Sajiri, despite his death. He realizes that Sabito would be the same age as Tomioka had he lived and marvels at his lonesome feat of saving everyone on Mount Fujikase. Tanjiro believes had he lived, Sabito would have undoubtedly been an incredible swordsman, adding that it is likely another reason Tomioka believes he should have died instead. He had felt the same when Rengoku was killed, even thinking that he himself should have died in place of him, as he even believed Rengoku was capable of defeating Muzan someday. Yet, he knew the late flame Hashira believed in him. He attempts to find the words to encourage Tomioka, knowing that despite what he himself believes, Tomioka would have undoubtedly pushed himself and suffered on his path to becoming a Hashira. While he knows it is not his right to criticize him, he believes he must try to ask him about something. Walking to try and reach Tomioka, he lags behind him as he is on crutches while being ignored, but Tanjiro eventually asks Tomioka if he was going to pass on what Sabito had entrusted to him. His words stopped the Hashira, causing him to touch his face and reminisce on a moment in his past. During their training, Sabito slapped him in the face, angered at him, saying that he should have died and warning him that if he repeats this again, it will be the end of their friendship. He reminds Tomioka that his older sister hid him from demons the day before her marriage, and she gave her life to save him. Sabito tells Tomioka not to die and protect the life she died for. Tomioka says the shock and pain of Sabito's slap are coming to him vividly, asking how he could forget the conversation with him. He recalls the names of his sister, Tsutako, and Sabito, apologizing to them for his immaturity. Seeing Tomioka is not speaking, Tanjiro begins to fear he has caused the already painful Tomioka even more harm. He suddenly has an idea of a speed-eating contest that, if he wins, he can use to encourage Tomioka to participate in Hashira training. Tomioka then turns to Tanjiro and apologizes to him. But before he can explain his willingness to train, Tanjiro asks if he would join him in a soba eating contest, much to his surprise and confusion. At a soba shop, as they eat, Jiyu notes that, regarding the program for Hashira training, he did not see Shinobu mention it, asking Tanjiro about what she is teaching the core, to which Tanjiro replies that he too is unaware, wondering how she is doing. Meanwhile, Kanao greets Shinobu and asks if she would train her after completing Sanemi's training, but the Hashira tells her she's not participating in training. Shocked at this, Kanao says she had wanted to do more training with her, causing Shinobu to smile at seeing her adoptive sister becoming more open and candid with her feelings. Shinobu believes now is the right time and tells Kanao about the demon who killed her older sister and explains how she is planning to kill him. In the mountains, as trainees perform sit-ups, Tengen says they cannot move on to the next training session without improving their basic fitness. He makes an example out of a trainee by hitting him in the stomach with his wooden blade, claiming that they will not survive Sanemi's and Mitsuri's training. Tanjiro then arrives and bows to the former Hashira. Tengen says he looks well, and with his body intact, he must now start training. Tanjiro thanks him, claiming it was because of him that he is alive, before vowing he will do his best in the training. Throughout the day, he repeatedly bests his fellow demon slayers in all exercises, running faster, lifting more, and having greater endurance out of them all, leaving them dumbfounded at his physical abilities. He also reunites with Tengen's wives, as Suma, Hinatsuru, and Makio greet him. Tanjiro thanks them for their help in the mission, but they claim they are the ones to be grateful. Later, one demon slayer asks his partner if he has night patrol the same night, asking to switch with him. His partner shoots down his idea, since night patrols allow him to skip morning training. That night, while on patrol, the first demon slayer believes the demons are hunting for Nezuko, though the other notes that it is mere speculation since no one asks demons. Suddenly, having had his back turned, the first demon slayer realizes his partner has vanished. He begins to panic as he worriedly looks around him, growing more nervous with each passing second. His partner suddenly jumps out from behind a corner, shocking the other demon slayer, who falls to the ground. Angered and scared, he demands he not joke around. His partner apologizes for his joke, but they hear a rustling sound behind them. The first demon slayer tells him to not repeat his prank and continue with the patrol, which he agrees to. Unbeknownst to them, the sound is coming from an eyeball marked 4, and it begins to follow them from behind. The next day, trainees are partnered up and must carry each other while running. Tanjiro, despite being partnered with someone much larger than himself, is able to easily run the fastest, leaving all the trainees stunned. During a break, they ask Tanjiro about what it was like to fight upper-rank demons. Tanjiro says they are indeed strong, but when asked how much so, he replies that before he could realize it, he was downed and yet was immediately attacked upon getting back up. Before Tanjiro could tell them about when his brain didn't get oxygen, the trainees asked him to stop his retelling, before saying that these are the words that ordinary people like themselves cannot imagine. Before the next exercise, Tengen's wives approach Tanjiro. Hinatsuru and Suma says that, despite his rough behavior, Tengen is actually gentle on the inside, with Makio mentioning that he did not eat until the last trainee returned. Tengen, having heard their gossip, states that he would never crush the demon slayers entrusted to him by Kaguya. Tanjiro then makes his run, and Tengen tells him to do it quickly. As he does so, he says that the Hashira are actually kind-hearted deep down and recalls his eating contest with Tomioka. After eating more than 8 trays, Tomioka gives him 2 more trays and says that if he can finish his 2 portions, Tanjiro will win and he will participate in Hashira training. Hearing this, Tanjiro agrees and begins to eat his last portions. Sitting by himself, Nemi waits until the Obanai arrives. He apologizes for his lateness, though the former notes he had only arrived as well. The Wind Hashira says he had been thinking about the castle they saw and how it suddenly vanished in front of their eyes. Nemi also mentions that he had investigated the castle several times but did not find anything. Obanai says at the same time, demon activity in the surrounding city has diminished, which Nemi believes is proof they are truly targeting Nezuko. Obanai believes that something dangerous will be upon them, but Nemi shoots him down by saying he will be the one to end it all. Obanai then says he has a suggestion for him, to which Nemi replies that he will say his one first. He challenges the serpent Hashira to fight him, and Obanai remarks that he had coincidentally been thinking the same. After helping Tengen's wives with chores in the kitchen, Tanjiro is thanked with a cup of Gyokuro tea. Hinatsuru begins to cry as she remarks that Tengen still wants to fight. Suma adds that he speaks in his sleep, and Makio notes that he blames himself for relinquishing his position in the Corps. Hinatsuru then asks Tanjiro to defeat Muzan, and he promises to do so. As the sun sets, Tengen informs the trainees of a change in plans. Instead of the long-distance run to the mountain, they will face a special exercise based on real combat. In the pitch black of the night, the trainees, all armed with wooden blades, must face and survive Tengen as he plays the role of a demon hunting them. For Tanjiro, his role in the session is to defeat the former Hashira. In the forest, despite all of them being together, the trainees are downed and knocked unconscious one at a time by Tengen, who is too fast to be seen by them. Tanjiro struggles to sense Tengen by scent, though he eventually catches sight of him in motion. Tengen continues to downplay the trainees until the moonlight reveals his position. When one trainee declares it is impossible for them to face him, the annoyed Tengen suddenly appears behind him, questioning if he would say the same to a demon attempting to kill him before knocking him out. Tanjiro warns the remaining trainees that Tengen will see through any half-hearted attack, telling them to group towards him and leave no openings. As the trainees run to him, Tengen attempts to attack again but has his blow blocked by Tanjiro. The force of their clash blows back the trainees, but Tanjiro holds his ground. The former Hashira orders him to attack, leading to an intense battle between them. The trainees are stunned by his ability to clash with Tengen, who himself is impressed by how much stronger Tanjiro has gotten. As the two continue to trade blows, Tengen faces the trainees again as they attempt to help Tanjiro. Though their attacks fall short, they succeed in surrounding him, much to Tanjiro's appreciation. Impressed by their efforts to get him, Tengen spins his blade as he remarks that the battle has gotten interesting as the trainees all converge on him to attack. After the training, Tengen chastises the trainees for being defeated by someone who has retired. One trainee then speaks up, exclaiming that battling a former Hashira was too much. Tengen responds that he is not training them to scare them, but before he can continue, the young man claims he now has hope that the Hashiras and Tanjiro can defeat Muzan. More trainees agree with his sentiment, with one stating that they will strive to do their best to support them. Inspired by Tanjiro and Tengen, the trainees vow to work harder and become stronger, leaving Tengen speechless but satisfied. The next day, watching the trainees exercise with renewed vigor, Tengen believes they will strengthen in their own way. Seeing as Tanjiro has nothing more to be taught, he allows him to depart. Tengen remarks that though they have defeated the upper ranks, the battle will not end until Muzan is defeated and leaves the job to Tanjiro. He then thanks Tengen and his wives for training him and leaves the area. Led by his Kasugai crow, Tanjiro makes his way to the next training site. Entering the building, he sees Muichiro facing a trainee, who pleads that he has endured enough. Nuichiro coldly tells him he will be eaten if he does not fight back, before easily disarming and knocking him down. Like and comment if you enjoy this video. Subscribe to my channel for more anime recaps, and tell me what anime recap you like to see next in the comments below.